The Profit Constructors presents Construction Junction, the junction between accounting and construction. On this episode of Construction Junction, our host, Tanya Schulte, interviews guests attending the Scaling New Heights conference. Join us to find out the word on the street from some of the top industry leaders.
Awesome. We're here at Scaling New Heights, and we're sitting talking with Yusuf of Relay. I'm super excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, it's great to be here. I'll look about. Yeah, yeah. I'm Yusuf from Relay. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So, just a little get to know you. Where are you originally from?
Loaded question, Tanya. Starting with the tough ones. I was originally born in the UK, and I moved to Canada when I was like 4 years old. And I've lived in Canada. I'm like an honorary Canadian. I am a Canadian citizen, but I'm basically Canadian, but I'm English and Persian.
English and Persian. See, this is why I absolutely love the icebreaker questions, because you learn things that you never really knew about people, and it's so cool. So I'm gonna make this a much easier question throwing your way. What's your favorite food?
I know you thought that was an easy one. Okay, I mean we're going on my roots, so why not? I'll pick a Persian dish. I love khoresh karafs, which is like a kind of a lamb stew with like celery, and it's green and a lot of rice. It's very tasty. That is my go-to favorite.
Okay, so let's switch gears and actually talk about your app, Relay. Well, it's more than an app, which I love. So tell us more about Relay. What is it, and how did it get started?
Yeah, so Relay is banking designed for accountants and bookkeepers and their clients. So think about everything that you might hate about your client's traditional bank, and then think of the opposite. That is what Relay is. So you have a partner portal similar to like QBOA or ZeroHQ, where you can switch between client accounts, manage staff access. You get a direct, reliable bank feed that syncs every 3 hours, and no duplicate transactions are sent across. And then we send across enriched transaction data. So when a check is deposited, you actually get the check information. You don't get check 1, 2, 3, 4 or mobile check deposit. So it makes the bookkeeping really, really easy. And your clients get a modern, smart operating account with up to 20 checking accounts, no account fees, no minimum balances. You can automate bills, all from the bank account. You can manage expenses. It's all FDIC insured. It is kind of great. Actually, it's really great.
It's great. We love it. We know our clients love it. Some of the things that we really love about it, and you mentioned a few of them, but let's kind of dig in a little bit deeper in some of these. One of the things that we really love about it is the bill pay system. So traditionally, if you had clients, let's say on QBO, there was sort of like a 3-step thing you had to go through, right? Because we have like the bills are entering into QuickBooks, you're going to pay them some way, and now you have to like enter that bill payment again into QuickBooks. So there's like all of these things that are just manual data entry, but you guys are eliminating a couple of those steps.
Yeah. So our dream is to like integrate AP automation or accounts payable automation into the banking experience. And there's a bunch of benefits that come with that. So one, we automatically sync the bill so you can actually see what's upcoming from your bank, right? And most business owners rely on their bank balance to make financial decisions. You know, I think we can all agree that that's not necessarily ideal, but it's the reality. And so being able to see what bills are there that need to be paid is helpful. Two, you can actually set up approval workflows inside of Relay. So you as the bookkeeper can actually say, hey, I want to pay this bill, but I want my small business owner to actually approve it before I pay it. So I manage my liability. And then lastly, the reconciliation is so dead easy because there's no third party, because you mentioned all these different parties, since there's just the accounting system and Relay, right? We mark the bill as paid as soon as it's paid from Relay, and then we send across a bank fee transaction that just matches up against that paid bill. All you have to do is click match.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. The bill pay is one of the things that we've loved the most. Another thing, because we usually use a sort of cash flow management system where we are often asking our clients to set up multiple accounts. I love that you guys make that not only easy, but you make it with no fees. So talk to us more about your accounts and how those work.
Perfect. So per business, you get up to 20 checking accounts. So no account fees, no minimum balances. Setting up a new account takes seconds, literally seconds, as you know. And you can transfer funds across from one account to many accounts, either on a per dollar, so you could say, oh, I want to move $1,000 to this account, $2,000 to this, $3,000 to the other, or on a percentage basis. So you could have, say, like an account where you're depositing all the funds, and then 20% is going across to, I don't know, the profit account or the tax account or whatever it might be, and you can do this one-to-many transfer. It makes it really easy when you're doing cash management.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love the part about the percentages as well, because like you just spoke to, some of it is we want to set it up so it's really streamlined, that whatever's coming into the income account, there's an exact percentage that's going out into these other accounts. And again, like you said, a lot of business owners, for good or for bad, are managing off of what they see in those bank accounts. So when we're able to easily move it from one account to the other, it gives them a very clear picture of what funds are available and what those funds are earmarked for across the company. And I think that's fantastic that you guys give such, not only that ability, but that it can be done with such ease. And so from a bookkeeping standpoint, our team has always been absolutely in love with those features of your product. You guys also make it very easy to issue debit cards.
True.
Great answer.
Yeah, so I think the whole goal is to give you one place where you can get financial visibility on your business. You can not only automate AP, but you can also manage expenses for your business and issue cards to employees or for your team, or even virtual cards to say, hey, I want to put my QBO subscription or put my accounting software subscriptions on one card, and you have controls and limits associated with it. So it makes it easy.
As I said. No, but I think the thing that I love about that is the ability for, in our industry, we're talking in the construction, of course, this is totally geared towards construction. And as you and I have talked about before, sometimes our clients want the ability to say, here are funds earmarked for one particular project. And so from the debit card standpoint, it's easy to make sure that debit card is always tied to the purchases that are happening for that particular project.
Yeah, so to add more color there, so when you're spinning up these new checking accounts, you can do not only, say, a tax account, you can also set up an account for Project A, and then issue cards against Project A and segregate the funds so you don't go over budget. You always know what's happening from a spend management perspective. Yeah,
that's really, within this industry, it's really brilliant. And I think if there's one takeaway that we can take away from this is that you guys are making it incredibly, incredibly easy for all of that to happen, and giving bookkeepers really good insight and a much easier way to manage within their client's account than we've ever had prior into their banking. And again, as a bookkeeper who always was a little concerned whenever we were asking for banking credentials for our clients, we used to be really bought into the idea that we would maybe be able to just auto fetch documents. The banks have made that difficult now. So access to bank information is something that you guys have solved in a very creative and amazing fashion.
Yeah, I think from the accounting and bookkeeping perspective, it's miles easier. We've heard some crazy stats from customers where they're like, "Oh, my accounting processes for clients that are on Relay are 5x more efficient than other our clients that aren't there," and they're actually able to reduce the costs for those clients, or they charge the other clients more, to reduce the costs for the clients that are on Relay. It's better than we expected, if we're being totally honest.
Thank you so much, Yusuf, for joining me for this and for talking to us about Relay. How can people find out more about Relay?
Do I look here? I think I do. Go to relayfi.com and you'll see a button for accountants and bookkeepers, or if you're a small business construction, you can actually just go ahead and sign up on the website.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yusuf from Relay. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The Construction Junction prides itself on bringing you the best in the industry. If you would like to share your company or product by being a guest on our show, please email hello@theprofitconstructors.com.
We're here at Scaling New Heights talking to Tyler with Veeam. Tyler, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Before we even dive into talking about your solution, which I do think is a really great solution, I want to get to know Tyler a little bit more. So tell us a little bit about you. Do you have any favorite podcasts or books that you'd like to share with folks that are listening?
Yeah, hello, and thanks for having me. Tyler Hickman. Probably a little bit about myself. I'm a Canadian, so obviously coming down here to Dallas was quite the trip, but I did make it. Podcast for myself, I'm a big sports guy, so I've got a couple local sports podcasts, Ottawa Senators and Seattle Seahawks I listen to. I am a sales guy, though, so I do listen to a couple sales podcasts. My favorite one is Make It Happen Mondays by John Burroughs.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing. Do you have any hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
Well, so all my hobbies have been completely shot. I've got a 3-month old at home, so I haven't been able to do a whole lot over the last couple months. But like I said, mostly sports, Formula One, football, hockey. I watch probably too much sports.
Nice. I like sports too. So let's talk about Veeam. You and I have spoken in the past. I really do like your solution. It's all about payments. I'm going to hand the microphone off to you. If you could just tell us, what is Veeam and what does it do?
Yeah, for sure. So, I can take it here. Awesome. So, Veeam essentially, from a high-level perspective, is an all-in-one payments platform for SMBs. We work with a large number of industries and, of course, subsets within that. Constructions being, of course, one of those. But really, small businesses are one that quite often get passed up for great services by banks and many, others. They quite often have painful processes and really not great, client support services along with it. And that's really been kind of Veeam's goal. We originally started as an international payments company. So, for a lot of folks that were, especially in the SMB, segment, sending international payments, it was going into branches, filling out long forms, total, lack of transparency, speed was awful and expensive. Right, so back in 2014 when we started, that was really the goal to kind of fix that. But over the last couple of years, again, SMBs are having to utilize so many different tools and services to make their payments, their receivables. So really the goal has been kind of expand as much domestic offerings as we can so that a business has one place, right? They can log into Veeam and they can send ACH, paper check, make a credit card payment, international wire, foreign exchange, whatever it might be, and same thing on the receivables. So one place of which they can execute all of those that integrates with their QBO or Xero or NetSuite or many other softwares as well.
Great. So from the payment standpoint, kind of walk us through like the life of a payment as it flows through Veeam.
Yeah. So, we focus on process, of course. So again, we want to make life as simple and as automated as possible. So again, working with QBO as an example, invoices, bills that are created within QBO, they automatically sync into Veeam. You come in with literally 2 clicks, you can send off payments. You can have an approval flow if you would like. Those could be multi-step. They could be actually brand new to us is department or role specific approvals, which is of course a lot of folks have been asking for as well. So if there's specific individuals with the business that need to approve specific vendor payments, you can also set up that as well. And then the payments then, depending on the type of payable to the vendor, can go out, again, international payment, domestic ACH, paper check, anything like that. The funds are essentially sent out. At that point, we're pushing a notification back into QBO or other software, letting them know that account's been debited and that payment has been completed, and mark off that bill is paid within the service, completing the auto reconciliation. Then, of course, the vendor gets its funds, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So, as you know, there are a lot of payment players in the space. What makes Veeam different?
Yeah, there are. I mean, it's becoming a crowded space very quickly. There's a lot of businesses in it. There's ones that have been around for longer than others. But I think the part that Veeam has that it's unique is we have the ability to do it all in one kind of platform. Like, unfortunately, with some of our competitors, they don't. They've got great benefits in some areas, but drawbacks in others. So no matter what type of payment that you essentially need to do within Veeam, you can execute it within Veeam.
Awesome. That's great. You and I, as we've talked before, I'm totally all in on the construction space. We don't have any other clients who aren't construction clients, and a lot of the folks that are watching this podcast are in that same boat, that they're very construction centric. So speaking into that construction space, one of the reasons that a construction company would really be able to use your solution and use it well? What's a benefit in that construction space?
Yeah. It's a great question. The essentially, again, the workflows, it depends on the business, right? So there's, ones in there that are a little bit more manual, lots of paper processes from, invoices from suppliers that are a little bit more old school. But the biggest benefit is our flexibility, I think, that we can work with such a wide variety of businesses. As it pertains to the construction space, we've got, clients that, their vendors aren't wanting to sign up for other softwares and other different services. Maybe they've had a check process. We're able to essentially offer ACH service to those vendors, of which they don't have to do anything. You can enter their ACH details, you can send them payments. Again, fully customized approvals from the construction businesses side. So it can be a single approval process. It can be a multi-stage process with multi-people kind of involved in it for review, or again, role specific, depending on the certain vendor, department manager that might be, in particular to that project. They can be the ones that are approving those. So again, offer that flexibility and hopefully an improved process.
Love it. I think that the multi-approval process, that's a big one for a lot of our clients, right? Like you might have the person who ordered it, maybe the project manager, the guy out in the field, he needs to approve it and say, yes, that's what I ordered. And then you'll have maybe the person that's back in the back office that also needs to say, okay, now we're ready to send this payment. There's multiple sets of eyes on that. So I think that's a great solution in that area. Thank you so much for talking with us today. If people want to find out more about Veeam, how can they find you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone's looking for any more information, Veeam.com is our website. On there, we have specific use cases. You guys can read all our information on there. Our pricing is very, very great for a lot of folks. We don't have any kind of monthly subscription costs or anything like that. Transactionally priced, but here within the U.S., we offer free ACH and free paper check services for a lot of folks. So it's really great from that perspective. But Veeam.com, and you can check us out there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Awesome.
Good talking to you. We're here at Scaling New Heights, and I'm chatting with Scott from Patriot Software. Scott, thanks so much for joining me today.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for the invitation.
So let's start off. I'd love to get to know you, Scott. So tell us a little bit about you. Do you have any hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
Sure, father of 3 boys, so fun for me is playing sports with the kids. It's disc golf, tennis, soccer, Ohio State football, go Buckeyes. Those are the main hobbies that we enjoy to do. Hiking is a newfound passion of ours. Just got to do Pikes Peak out in Colorado. Definitely recommend it. So those would be some of the biggest hobbies that we have.
So you just got to travel to Colorado. Do you have any other favorite travel destinations?
Favorite city in the world is Rome. I don't know if you've ever been to Rome. It is unreal. So good. The history, the beauty, it's great. Also really like Boston randomly. Not sure why, but been a couple times and just really like Boston. But if I were going to go anywhere, it's the mountains or something like historical, like a Rome where you can just, literally excavate the history that's there, right?
So tell us more about Patriot. What is Patriot? Kind of what do you guys do? How did you get started? Let's kind of dig in there.
Sure. So Patriot is a cloud-based payroll and software company. We've been around since 2001, actually. Some people think we're a little bit newer than that, but we've been around for a while. Really in 15, 16, we kind of put the most recent iteration of our software out there, kind of change gears a little bit. So it's cloud-based software. We really want to see our software used by millions of small businesses and their accountants. So we are both direct to the consumer, to the small business themselves, but our fastest growing channel is with accountants, through them to their clients.
Okay, great. And so when you're saying that you guys are an accounting software package, what all does that include?
So the accounting software, cloud-based, it's going to be a nice alternative to like a QuickBooks Online. People say it's closer to QuickBooks Online than to a Xero, probably. Super affordable, give me $25 a month at retail. More affordable if accountants are using it. They get a discounted price off of that. It's got great invoicing, great AP, AR, automated bank feeds, bank reconciliations. So it's just a really nice, simple platform. Really what I like to say about the accounting product is that it's really trying to walk a fine line between something a small business owner could just pick up and pretty easily start to use for themselves in ways that wouldn't totally mess up their books, right? But also a tool that accountants look at and say, okay, that's robust. That has the features I expect, the features I need, the language that I recognize. And that's really what Patriot's trying to do, so that both sets, the small business owner and the accountant, find the GL, the accounting software, something that can help them keep their books in line, track expenses, make payments, bill vendors, automate those bank feeds, and so forth.
That makes a lot of sense. Sounds like you guys have some really dedicated customer support folks. Tell us about your customer support.
Yeah, so customer support is really our calling card. I've told people so many times, hey, there's a lot of great payroll products out there. There's a lot of great accounting products out there, but particularly on the payroll side, which is where I work, a little bit more than on the accounting side. If you can't get good customer support to take care of that tax issue that might arise, or to help you figure out how to set up in a certain state or locality, it doesn't matter if your software shines your shoes and sings you a song while you're doing the books or while you're running payroll. If you can't support the user and resolve their issues, then they're going to go elsewhere. And I see that every day. So we really pride ourselves in amazing customer support at Patriot. We are available by phone or by chat Monday through Friday, 9 to 7. Right there through the software, there's a little Get Help button. You can click it. It says the average wait time for the current day to chat or to call, and it's almost always 5 minutes. That's our target, to keep that right at 5 minutes. Expert support located right here in the United States for the accountants out there, the folks who are running books or payroll for their clients. We also give you a dedicated success coordinator. Their primary job is to help you bring your clients onto the platform. So you say, hey, I've got a new construction business that's going to fit great for your accounting product. They help you, get that set up, answer your questions, make sure you're comfortable, good to go. And then that success coordinator stays involved with your account. Your primary questions would go to the general support team, right? How do I send that check? How do I delete this, that, etc.? But you'd always have that success coordinator there to help you with your more complex problems, be a liaison to the right team in Patriot. So absolutely number one, we don't want anybody at Patriot to be frustrated with support.
I love that. Something else that you said kind of made me think about this too. You're talking about that dedicated support person that's there for the accountant advisor. What does it look like to implement? How long does a typical implementation look, and how involved does your team kind of get in helping, as particularly accountants and advisors, get involved in that?
Yeah, great question there. So the success coordinator would meet with the accountant first, maybe a 20 to 30 minute Zoom call, and create what we call a success plan. We actually have a tool called Success Plans, and we create an online document, conversation space tool that the accountant can access, the coordinator can access, where it keeps kind of that transition plan in place. So on the accounting side, we can import things like vendors and chart of accounts and a variety of tools. It's not a complete conversion yet. We're working on how do you just do a complete conversion from a QBO over to a Patriot. But we do have a lot of different steps that we can convert for you on the accounting platform. Now in payroll, it's much more robust migration importing tools that we have. So we can import a list of all the clients you want to bring on for payroll. We can import a list of all their employees. We can import all their payroll history. And depending on the platform you're bringing them from, Intuit Online Payroll, just send us the report, we import it for you. Or QuickBooks Desktop, just send us the employee contact list, we import it for you. So there's a lot of different tools, and your success coordinator would walk you through all of that. Right, understand the software that you've been using, your timeline, and they put a game plan in place to help you make that transition.
Great. Sounds like that is typically pretty smooth. Awesome. So if someone wanted to find out more about Patriot, or they wanted to learn more about what it means to work with you guys as an accountant and an advisor, how could they do that? patriotsoftware.com/advisor, I believe, is the advisor page. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, there's a link for CPAs, bookkeepers, etc. And that will show you the discount model. We provide anywhere from a 20 to 50% discount on payroll, 10 to 25% discount on accounting, based on the number of clients that you've added. Walk you through some of the other benefits that we provide to our accounting partners. They'd see that right there. They could also email partners@patriotsoftware.com. Somebody will reach out, or snelson@patriotsoftware.com is my direct email. They could contact us there as well, or hopefully talk to another accountant around you, because quite a few of them out there using Patriot these days. That's awesome. Thanks so much for chatting with us today, Scott. I really appreciate your time. Welcome. We are here at Scaling New Heights. We're with Robert with GoToMyERP. Thank you so much for joining me, Robert. I want to talk about your solution, but before we do that, let's go ahead and chat a little bit about Robert. So, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
I am actually in karate right now. So, yeah, I just achieved my brown belt in Kempo, American Kempo karate. I'm within about a year or so of my actual black belt. So I'm training right now extensively, and I shouldn't be eating nearly as much as I am.
All right, so tell us about GoToMyERP. Tell us what it is and sort of what is the solution that you offer to small businesses and to accountants and bookkeepers.
So we are a premium hosting provider. We are a private desktop organization that provides dedicated environments to all entities that decide that they want to bring their desktop hosting solutions to us. And basically what that means is all the resources, everything that's necessary to make the operations of the system work well, are embedded, ready for you to use 100%.
That's awesome. Very cool. I like how you explained it really succinctly too, so it makes sense. So, as we had spoken about, this podcast is specifically directed towards the construction industry. And we, in our firm, and I know across the board with other construction accounting firms, we're often running into folks who still need that desktop capability and desktop functionality out of their QuickBooks. That's something that you guys can handle. We can install desktop on GoToMyERP. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So in the construction industry, some of the challenges that are normally faced are things like time card entry, having a team in the field, inventory on trucks, all of those things that actually might be project specific or service related contractor specific. And what we do to help facilitate consultants like yourself is actually take that software, get it installed in such a way that the guy in the field, the woman in the field actually providing the service is able to access, enter their time per project, their hours, whatever it might be, whatever they took off of the truck, and be able to roll that back in the easiest possible way so that the people on the back end doing all of the consolidations, the bookkeeping and the reconciliations, not a problem, easy as they can be.
So a lot of seamless data entry where you're not having to do a lot of double data entry. They're not having to record things out in the field, bring it back into the office. You guys are making that a lot more easy in that contracting space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've even seen in the technology space, we've actually seen paperless documentation that's being able to come through where you actually can record things with your device, data enter things on the device. So whether it's an OCR document, something that you need to handwrite and then upload, all the way through types of synchronizations like you've chatted with me about, those are important qualities that make things easier in the field. We don't need to struggle with QuickBooks anymore. It's a single point of entry for an ERP system, and it supports the contract industry marvelously.
So if someone wants to find out more about GoToERP, first, before we even get to like your contact info, who's your ideal client? Who would be the best type of person you would love to ideally work with?
That's a great question. A lot of our customers come to us who are slightly more complex. Let me explain what that means. Is on the back end they're using QuickBooks, but then they're using other solutions, the integrated solutions, or any other third-party system that actually may extend their capabilities. And those are the organizations that we help the most, where they have several users, maybe dozens or hundreds of users. It really just depends.
Great, thank you. So if they want to find out more about GoToMyERP, what is the best way to find you guys and how can they learn more?
www.gotomyerp.com, or you can just call me, 877-888-5525, extension 704. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today, Robert. Happy to hang out with you. We are here at Scaling New Heights, and I'm chatting with two of my very good friends that I absolutely love that are in my roundtable group, our little mastermind group that we've been together for quite some time. And we're just going to chat about us. So, Kelly, what was your number one goal coming to Scaling New Heights this year? Did you write it down? What did you want to accomplish?
So this is the first time I'm speaking at Scaling New Heights, and so speaking and not making myself a nervous wreck was my goal, and I actually managed to pull that off. Yes. I spoke this morning and I was super calm. I didn't make myself upset or worried or any of those things. And so now I feel like I have come full circle from 5 years ago being my first scaling to this being the one that I spoke at. And I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. Good job. I think it's cool that you and I have both been coming for the same number of years. We're like,
and you're both speaking.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What did you speak about, Kelly?
SEO. So I'm like SEO for bookkeepers and accountants and apps, basically all around the accounting space. Call it beginner services. So making sure your website's online, that you're using the right keywords, that you're being found the right way, all of that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Good job. What about you? What was your number one goal this year for this conference?
I'm in kind of a transitional thing. So my number one goal, I think, was just kind of not be so type A about my goals. I don't know if that makes sense, but to not be over scheduled, to not be over sort of tunnel vision, and to kind of take things as they come. And to have this lovely lady encourage me to do some of the stuff that's not on a schedule, like go to a dinner or do this thing, and just to be more open to what's possible. I feel like I've done it.
She's nailing that.
Awesome. Nailed it. So my number one thing was to make sure that at the end of this, I am set for taking off on a subcontractor niche. So focusing just on really probably working mostly with Notify.
Nice.
So I'm doing in November, Hector Garcia and I are doing a 6-week, starting in November, we're doing a 6-week Notify paired with QBO live webinar series.
Like a deep dive.
Yeah, which is really at the end of this year and then kicking off into literally our firm will be hyper focused into that specialty trade subcontractor niche, not really taking general contractors so much anymore, not taking them at all. I say I'm going to be type A, and then I'm like, but I could go do that one fun thing.
No, there's a squirrel thing.
It is. I'm really bad about that, and so but that's the goal, is to focus exclusively on that and dive into it. Thank you. So here, while you've been here, what's been the number one thing that's been impactful for you so far?
I'm like, I don't know if it counts as impactful. I think I've been better about making connections with people. So I don't know if it's just coming off of, not being able to travel and not connecting with people in real life, but I've made it a point to talk to pretty much anyone that I even halfway recognize and say hi and reconnect. And I guess it's been impactful for me because it's kind of like recharging the batteries. So being in the house and being by yourself for so long, and then, you kind of get out and you're like, oh yeah, I still know people. And it's not, not necessarily just my neighbors now. There's a bigger world out there. So I don't know, I feel like it's uplifted me a little bit, Yeah.
I think for me, just the idea that there's more than one lane. And I think part of listening has been kind of okay, there's not one way to do things. And starting to really listen to what, me trying to pivot. I don't know what exactly I want to do, but I know I want to work with the people in our industry. I work with restaurants, but I like accountants and bookkeepers. And I feel like because I haven't had this sort of overarching goal, I have to find out my process or I have to whatever, that I've been able to watch people listening or watch people learning or being frustrated or being whatever, and having a better idea of what people might need. And we just came off such a huge, just kind of life-clarifying time in the world. And I think that people need a little bit of energy and it's not all that morose,
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is.
Did either of you get to see the main stage this morning? Were you guys in the main stage? So Inky Johnson was the reason that I was not going to miss that main stage. He was so incredible. But one of the things that he said from the stage was, no matter what business we're in, we're really in the people business.
Yes.
So, it's about taking care of the people that work for me, and then through them helping to take care of the small businesses that we work with. And at the end of the day, that's all we're all here to do.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This has been so much fun. I appreciate you guys both so much.
We appreciate
Thank you.
too.
Bye, ladies. Thank you.
Are you a construction accountant or industry advisor looking for a place to connect with peers and learn about the very latest in technology and systems to advance your business and serve your clients? Join us at the Roundtable Lab. Roundtable is a mastermind group and offers a specific group just for the construction industry. Check us out on roundtablelab.com.
We are here at Scaling New Heights still, and we are talking with Bob Lewis from Corpay. Bob, I am so excited that you agreed to join us and talk about your solution. But before we jump into talking about Corpay, I would love to know more about Bob. So tell me a little bit about you. Do you have any favorite podcasts or books? What's your favorite source of learning right now?
Well, Tanya, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm grateful. So I like podcasts. I listen to Cloud Accounting podcast. I listen to some of the Economist podcasts. Those are great. Teach Me Something New is another good one.
So our podcast focus is on the construction industry and those accountants and bookkeepers who are working with that industry. And I know that that's something that you guys really kind of have a passion for, is helping construction business owners do what they do better. So if you could speak to how Corpay works in that industry and the construction industry specifically, and why they're such a great solution for that industry.
Well, Tanya, thank you. That's a great question. We are so our solution is horizontal, but we do have several industries where we've seen concentration, and construction is one of those. So I think one of the main things that helps us with construction is the ability to track information at a very granular level by project. And so our solution has a great capability to scan an invoice and look for specific information on that invoice. So if you have a job or a project number, it can scan for that, and it can code that invoice and route it appropriately to the job boss or the project leader or whatever, whoever's running that particular job. And so we can support job costing well. So I think that's one of the key capabilities that's necessary. Now then there's other ability with our workflow, which essentially is a highly customizable, or I say tailored, approval engine. So based on, and then within that, you can select items from an invoice to be billable. So you can make certain items are billable, others will go into overhead, or into a more general cost structure. And so based on that, we can really help accountants support their construction clients.
Great answer. I know that one of the main reasons that we were drawn to your solution from the beginning was that job costing capability, and especially what you're speaking to, the scanning piece of it. Tell us a little bit more about that, and how is that really saving a lot of time across the board? And again, in that horizontal, maybe when we move away from the construction vertical, how is that whole scanning that you have the capability of doing saving so much time for accountants and bookkeepers?
So, getting data into a system is a big effort, or it can be, and so that includes both the document and the data. So, our OCR capabilities are fantastic, and so what we do is we scan in the document itself, plus we read the data from the invoice. We do that with a very, very high degree of accuracy, better than 99.9%. So that saves people time keying information, and that it also saves time getting that document into the accounting system. So you're not finding other ways to, route things 2 different ways, or you can avoid paying for an extra solution on the front end that scans and sends documents to multiple places. You just need one, and it's right there. And then a great part of our solution is its cost, which is another big differentiator. So on the cost side, because we are part of FleetCor, which is one of the largest global B2B payments companies. In fact, we're an S&P 500 business. We have over 8,500 employees, over $2.5 billion in revenue. We're the largest provider of virtual card. We issue virtual cards, corporate cards, fuel cards. And so back to construction, when we have crews that have a need to pay for fuel and just fuel, it's a great way to control costs, but keep the trucks rolling, keep the crews rolling. So connecting all that together with a solution that is essentially no monthly fees, and payments, ACH and check, are also free. So it allows you to provide a service for a great comprehensive solution for a moderate price and maintain your margin.
I didn't even really realize, and I've talked and demoed your solution a few times and talked to you guys, I didn't even realize about the fuel cards. So that's a great new piece of information that I just learned today. So thank you for teaching me something as well. That's great. So if someone wants to know more about Corpay, either for their clients or if we have a few small business owners too, how can they find out more about Corpay? What's the best way for them to learn more?
So the best way would be to go to www.corpay1.com, and you can learn more on our website. We have a team that is our small business team that works with small businesses, and we have an accountant team. And so depending on how you reach out to us, you'll get to one of those teams, and we can support you with people who really understand your needs. And so our accountant team, we're there to help accountants learn about, onboard themselves, onboard clients, and then provide support as you go on. We have a dedicated accountant support team as well. So people who understand the sync, the integration, they understand accounting terminology. And so we're really investing to be a great partner in the accounting community.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing all of that about your accountant partner program as well. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you being here with us today. Bob Lewis with Corpay, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back. We're here at Scaling New Heights, and I am chatting with Omri of Anchor. I'm really excited to have you, Omri. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us today and tell us more about Anchor. Before we even dive off into talking about Anchor, I'd like to know more about you as a person. So, Omri, tell us, first of all, where are you from?
First of all, thank you for having me, and hello, everybody. I'm from Israel. We're a tech startup based in Tel Aviv with a modest mission to basically eliminate manual work and late payments, and create a technology that actually works for you versus you working for it. So glad to be here.
Awesome, great. So again, before we dive off into Anchor, a couple things. What's your favorite food?
It's pizza. Without a doubt. I had this conversation many times. What would I take to, in an island, and what do you consider? So definitely pizza, but I'm getting to an age where I'm paying for that in the gym, so trying to moderate.
I love it. I love that it's pizza too. What's your favorite toppings?
Really depends on the mood, but I'm keeping it relatively basic. So olives, mushrooms,
the good stuff. So tell us more about Anchor. I'm going to go ahead and hand the microphone off to you here in just a second, but tell us, first of all, just explain what is Anchor, and then we can dive off a little bit more off of that basic explanation.
Thank you. So Anchor is basically, it's a SaaS platform that caters to service provider unique billing needs. It's a platform that we designed to make sure that we have something that enables you to have a solution that's from proposal all the way to reconciliation all in one place, with the invoicing and collection all weaved in, in one place. And that originated from basically our own pain or our own experience. And we feel that over the course of time, if we look at the economy of small businesses in the US and generally in the world, it's very challenging because we feel that they've been given the shorter end of the stick with no fault of their own. The majority of technology was shifted to consumer and possibly enterprise that could afford it. And although being, I think, the biggest industry in terms of actual capital moving back and forth, we were left really, really behind. In the 80s, our biggest thing was moving from paper into digital, but everything is still manual. And that manual creates errors, creates lack of trust from our customers, that the fact that they feel that they need to, and it's just that they need to verify the invoices that we send them. They need to verify that they didn't already pay for it. They need to verify that it was what was agreed upon in the agreement. And it leaves businesses, sadly, a little bit broken, because 90% of businesses in the US actually, close because of cash flow issues. And you say, okay, that makes sense. You don't have money, you have to close your business. But what doesn't make sense, and is really frustrating, is the fact that 60% of those businesses were actually profitable. They had a valid business, but just managing it all, they didn't make it. And we want to change that. And the mindset that brings a mindset of survival to small businesses, and just keeping your head above the water, staying in business, and especially during times of COVID that we've been through a year and a half or 2 years almost of really, really hardships. That mentality is something that I detest. Because I don't feel that these people deserve it. We don't deserve it. And so our entire thing is how businesses and the people running them can thrive, not survive.
So tell us a little bit more about how does Anchor work? What are the steps in the process, and how does it work from both sides, from both the vendor who's sending out this invoice, and then also on the paying side, who's paying that? So just walk us through it.
All right, what it is. So we looked how to solve the problem, and we said okay, if this is from here to here, this is the billing cycle, we actually need to start here before the billing cycle even begins, and that's the agreement stage, the engagement letter, the proposal, setting it up to succeed. And the way to do that is instead of sending an attachment, you send a link, which brings to this mini cool website with your branding that illustrates exactly what you want to be paid, like your services, the terms, everything that the paper can hold. We can actually create it digitally and keep all the terms, all the text below. And then we're matching it exactly like e-commerce and SaaS, but we're bringing that experience into service providers. So the client will receive this cool link, say, oh, nice, yeah, this is exactly what we spoke about, and sign it with his finger. Then immediately after, the screen will flip, and we will ask them for either a credit card or ACH that will collect that information, but we won't charge them. That will assist us to create that flawless, that autonomous feel to it down the line.
What accounting softwares does Anchor integrate with, and how does that work?
So naturally, we're starting with QuickBooks, both desktop and online, and moving forward, we want to address all of them and actually integrate with as many partners as we can. So if anyone's listening and is looking for an integration or a partnership, we're very, very open to it. We're going to be a very collaborative tool. So we eventually want to really change the way that businesses work and operate and get paid, and we understand that we need to include as many friends into this equation, but we're starting from QuickBooks.
Okay, good to know. If someone wants to know more about Anchor, how should they find you guys?
So sayanchor.com is the website. You can find us on LinkedIn naturally, Facebook, or contact our lovely host and she'll put us together.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today, Omri.
Thank you, and thank you guys. Have an amazing rest of the year.
Be sure to tune in next time for Tanya's wrap-up of the Scaling New Heights Conference. For more information, please email hello@theprofitconstructors.com.